All right. Good morning. Every time I open Zoom, there's a new button to press. There's a new feature it's got, and I'm like, Zoom, I'm not interested, you know? I just want to make a phone call. Leave me alone. This
What's
AI
new?
is out of control now, Maurizio. It's everywhere.
Everything is gonna get out of control, man.
It is.
Everything.
It is. But
Everything, man.
the only thing is, none of it works.
It does, yeah, it takes like you seem to think that AI is magical, but it takes work to make it magical. That's the main problem. You know
It
what I mean? It
certainly
takes a
does.
lot of work to make it magical. And I think you still need to understand what the fuck you're doing. The interesting thing is going to help you to understand a little bit faster if you use it correctly. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
definitely a fact. That's how I using it. You know what I mean? To
Mhm.
understand things is so much easier than Google with a different. You know what I mean? Like it depends on how you use it, but always try to understand what you're doing. You don't have to
Mhm.
understand the nitty gritty, but if you understand the macro thing, uh, I think that's the new future, man. Like, but you do have to understand things. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that's the main problem.
In,
Yeah.
I mean, in isolation, AI is as thick as a whale's foreskin. It's fucking useless, you know? But once you've got that
Yeah.
operator
Oh,
command magic with it, you
yeah.
know, which is a
That
bit like the
it's
market. It's like when you look at the market, you can be completely just whitewashed a blank with it, or you can take some kind of right. I'm going to approach it methodically, much
yeah.
like there's 5 steps to a perfect AI prompt. What's the
Yeah.
output that you want? Well, and it's the same with the market as well. Like you think about the last few weeks, what have we been doing? We've really just mostly been looking at, well, hey, let me get my Bitcoin chart up a sec. I haven't even got it ready yet. In fact, no, I won't get mine up this morning because I'm not prepared. My
Don't worry,
point
it looks
is,
like shit anyway. So
yeah, yeah. I think what my point is like sometimes nothing happens in the market, and you need to stay alert
Mm,
to it, and you need to wait for that. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like you take some front run trades, but you take
yeah,
them for a plethora of reasons based on a hypothesis. If you don't have that hypothesis, then you can't really front run things. You just
yeah.
over trading. And every time you trade, you get hit with fees, and then it's just like death by 1,000 cuts. So what am I saying this early in the morning? Cash is a position. Get over yourself. Everybody just go home.
And you're definitely right on that. Yeah, cash that position, cash in the trade, right? So obviously, not trading is trading in a way. It took me a while
Mm.
to understand that, and obviously, learn a lot from Scott, learn a lot from my cousin as well. Learn from like they trade only with strength things. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
and if you do a lot of scalping, that's a different story. But you need to change your mindset as well. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
so at this stage, yes, you can do a lot of scalping, but there's not a lot of big opportunities coming along, right? We're approaching that area. I'm going to show you a few things, but that doesn't mean that you don't do anything. What it means that I think, in my perspective, this is the time that I work the most. Why? I do back testing, I do thesis, I do because the market is not active, you're not executing. But
Hmm.
this is the time that if you haven't learned, use the time to learn, to go back to see charts, to how to trade, how to execute, how to place trades, where do I open my
Mm.
wallets? Because when the time comes, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, and then it's gonna be another year or another cycle until you're actually going to get ready.
Mm.
So this is the best time, in my opinion, to work because
Yeah.
markets are not that exciting. I'm getting there, right? So obviously, I'm
They're
taking a
getting there.
lot of time to research, to do back testing, to get my AI stuff ready. You know what I mean? A lot of different things that you can
Mm.
do, but don't sit on the sidelines. This is the work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least take 1 hour, 2 hours to always, if there's nothing in the markets, make sure that you learn something new for how to execute or how do you look at charts or how do you look at news. You know what I mean? Like, this
Exactly.
is,
It's constantly chipping away at how you make those decisions. And part of how you
Hmm.
make those decisions is where you always pick us up and say, well, what does that mean? What does an uptrend mean
Hmm.
to you? So, like, you put your own rules to it. So, whilst I won't go through everything now, I think it's fair to say over the last month, 6 weeks or whatever, my position has been we're macro bullish. Okay. We're macro bearish. Okay. We're seeing some bullish relief within a macro bearish environment, but overall, I'm still bearish. I gave some reasons with the 200-week EMA. I haven't returned to it because I didn't see any follow through after those weeks below the EMA. That doesn't mean that it's void, doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that the thing I was expecting to see history rhyming didn't rhyme. So now I have to think to myself, okay, then, well, is this 200-week as accurate or as reliable as I thought? Not quite sure how to quantify that. Well, let's wait for this week then. Did we close under it? I think well, no, we've still got about an hour to the candle, but we're about sort of 65 at the moment. So the point is, am I seeing anything to change my stance, my position that I'm bearish? And I'm not seeing anything. I'm not trying to prove my bearish case so much. If anything, I'm trying to prove the bullish case so that I know I'm not in love with my idea. And then
Hmm.
that kind of self-challenging, then you can come along to a call like this and say, "Hey, I've been thinking, check this out." And then you can get your thoughts, checked by a peer.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think Jim has a pretty good question. I don't know if you have watched last calls of, I don't know if you've been around, but that's the question that you have to ask yourself, okay? What's the term between bearish and bullish? And you have to ask yourself in what time frame. Are you bearish or bullish? Macro, weekly, monthly, yearly, hourly, minute wise, you know what I mean? Those are the questions
Mm,
that we sort of try to solve while we're going through the charts here and clarify, and always ask yourself what that means to you. Right? If you say, oh, I'm bearish. For Ian, it could be, oh, he's bearish in a weekly time frame, so it's a longer term macro. Why? Because obviously he goes and watches different indicators, right? If you ask me, I might be bullish. I'm not saying I am, right? I'm
mm,
just saying that I might be bullish, but I'm bullish on the 1 minute chart, right? So that
yeah.
and if Todd were here, like he would be like, "Oh, I'm bullish right now.
You'd be on the
I'm
30-second
looking at the
chart
30-second
somehow.
chart." So you always have to yourself, what's your time frame? What's you trading on? And this is the right moment to start going and spend an hour a day, man, and watch charts, and make sure that you basically watch the same charts every single day, at least for a couple of minutes, and then you get used to how the market moves. All
Exactly.
right.
And also watch
So,
Maurizio's updates as well, because this week kind of sets out okay, it's Sunday in America, it's Monday for us. This is the start of the week. We're probably going to wait to see what the New York Open does tomorrow. And then he'll have a video update on the Tuesday or the Wednesday or the Thursday or whatever that continues on with the thesis. So you can see these theses being born, observation, and then challenging the original thesis. With that said, I'm off camera and it's over to the professional.
awesome. Great. So before we start, how do you guys feel about crypto this morning before I start giving you my mamba jumper? You guys feel that this is the time to buy, this is the time to sell, you don't want to do anything, you love it, you hate it. Give me your thoughts. Okay, great. Pair trading, that's good. Yeah. Buying thing. All right, good. Are you gonna buy it? Doing on the streets, I buy. Yeah. I think. Okay, Jason, focusing on education. Good, 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 good. All right, let's get cracking. So let me just share my screen and maybe give you my views. So yeah, I've been doing, like I say, this is the time that I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of interesting things, because there is a lot of things that look like shit, but not everything looks like shit. So we have to pay attention. What are the best things that when the market sort of picks up, may more than likely? And I talk about a lot, relative strength. So what's and you guys know what the spaghetti chance gives you. It gives you that relative strength, right? So I'm spending a lot of time trying to find really good fundamentals. But let's start with Bitcoin, right? So this was last week. This was last week candle, right? And we would mention about this huge range here, and we had those opportunities. So obviously, the Wednesday almost tried to break out, but it wasn't able to, right? So that's why I wasn't keen to getting on longs. I was actually really keen to actually get in on shorts here. The problem with shorts is that you have to monitor the market a little bit better, a little bit more actively, right? Because obviously, yeah, in hindsight, I could have shorted this beautiful, but then essentially on any session you have the potential of reversal, right? So that's the problem of shorts. Shorts work really, really well. We have talked about what's the psychology between buyers and sellers, right? And shorts usually happen quite fast, right? So that's why I like shorting. But with that being said, if we're very close to important levels where buyers might step in, then that's you have to monitor. You have to be in the charts. You know what I mean? You have to actually understand what are the potentials of a reversal there. So either you take the short and take some profits as a scalper, or you wait for good opportunities to buy and then you focus solely on that. Right? And that's basically what we're doing here. So even though on Friday I did tell you I was very, very close to short. No, that was on Thursday. I don't know if anyone took a short based on the video that I put up on Thursday. That would be a really great short. But yeah, I was hesitant of different levels, right? So where we are today. So let's start with the weekly. Okay. Let me just remove all these things. All right. What do we see of the weekly? Let's start with the macro stuff, right? And by the way, today is the last day of the month, but it's not only the last day of the month. It's going to be not today, tomorrow. Today or tomorrow. Is this Yeah, it depends on where you are, right? Like in January in 29 in the US, exactly. So you have to be mindful that exactly, Todd. That's my point. Today we're going to close end of the month, right? And today we're going to close end of quarter. And also there's going to be some options closing as well. And what options are? Options in the main market now that you have futures and options and all this sort of stuff. I'm not going to go into the details, but that does affect markets, affects liquidity. So I wouldn't, 31st, thank you. Yes, so it's 2 days. So I wouldn't go any, I wouldn't, there's a bunch of things that it takes me out of the buying hypothesis. Let's say this is the bottom, I want to buy. All right, let's imagine that that's going to be your hypothesis. So there's so much stuff going on at the moment in the world, right? The geopolitical stuff, oil, macros, Fed, not talking about interest, a lot of different shit, first of all. Two, we have the monthly close, quarter close. So essentially, whoever bought needs to provide profits, right? Or they need to de-risk, or they need to do something different. So even though markets are coming to this level here, right? Like this is the weekly. So from the weekly perspective, I'm still looks bearish. Would you agree or would you disagree? Like, is this a bearish case or a bullish case? Or where we are, like, what do you guys see here? Just from the weekly perspective. And this is so you're bearish, Joe. I am buying BTC. Okay, perfect. Bearish, small increments. Yep. That's not bad. Like, from the spot perspective, I think the case of Bitcoin as a strength, it is very solid. So I will keep buying BTC as a DCA sort of hypothesis. What that means is I don't care if this, like, it's a different mindset when you actually do BTC long-term hold, which I do, right? On a regular basis, I buy Bitcoin at whatever price it is, and it's just a long-term hold, right? And that's that's been proven the best strategy I ever done. But I don't going to sell it, so I'm not trading. I don't care what happens because I know long-term Bitcoin is going to go on, right? When you trade with leverage, right? When we trade with leverage, that's a different story because you need stop loss. You could get liquidated if you don't use the right leverage. Then so we play a different game. So from the spot perspective, I agree. I This is a good time to buy, right? But we could be seeing, like, if we have continuation of the bearish case here, right? The next interesting level to watch is this one here, the 50,000 level. There's two significant levels here. If you can see this level, which I highlighted a while back, right? So this level here, which is the lowest that it was in August 2024, right? And that's lining up with this EMA here. What is this EMA? The 200 daily SMA, okay? That's an interesting confluence. And if you think from the perspective of capitulation, let's say things got a shed, a lot of people start selling more and more and more. It's going to clear all the longs that clear at 60. And 60 is a lot of liquidity. A lot of people bought at 60, right? Those people are they're still on profit, right? They give you bought at 60, which hardly doubt it because obviously you need to be really, to buy at 60 because everything was shitting itself that day. You're still on profit, right? So this is going to give us either a really good support or is going to shit the bed, is going to liquidate all the people that actually went here. And this is my next sort of area to pay attention to, right? 52 to 50 area, right? I want to see buyers buying at this level, okay? So yeah, Joe, that's perfect. You definitely could play that game, and that's the best play you could tell, right? Jim, what's the year look like? So yearly, what do you mean? Could you uh be a little bit more specific about the year chart? What do you mean the year chart? Well, Jim, by the last year. So we're looking at the markets on a weekly time frame, right? So the year, right? The 2025 started here, right? And 2026 essentially did nothing. Pretty much for the whole year was an even year. 2024, we started here, right? January. And then 2025, that was the massive profit, right? So 2024, massive amount of profits. 2025, I hope that means that, you can sort of analyze the year performance by the charts that you're looking at. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that's the question. Anyway, moving forward, yeah, just type the question and then I'll go through it. So this is basically what I'm saying. All right. So those are the levels that I'm looking at, right? So from leverage perspective, I'll be a heavy buyer around these levels, around 60, around 55. If the market ever have a capitulation, right? Like a capitulation, what that means is we have a huge candle that actually comes back here and then I start seeing buying power there. I'll definitely go a little bit heavier on that perspective, right? So that's basically what I'm waiting for, right? I'm waiting for what the market is going to do at those levels. So that's kind of what I'm watching here on Bitcoin, right? So that's the daily. That was the weekly, now the daily, right? So from the daily perspective, we're still ranging. I don't have a view. This is the first time that we actually started breaking that structure to the upside, failed, but we haven't actually, we still have a huge amount of support here, right? Which is the area that I drew a while back, right? So in this case, for me, this is ranging at least, right? Looks bearish, yes, of course it does, but it looks this consolidation period here. Can we have the same thing that happened here? Look at this behavior that happened on November, right? Same thing. We were ranging, trying to break the range up above, and then bang, right? Can that happen again? Yes. Now that's option number one. Like if we start breaking below the 63, there is a highly likelihood that if we start breaking this level here, then we're going to reach the 50 something, and then I'll be looking to buy very, very heavily, right? But it's not like I want to buy at that level and that's it. I need to see a reaction of buyers there. You know what I mean? I need to see what's going on in CBD, all the stuff that we always do every single day, right? So that's basically my levels. For the time being, let's say option B, we start seeing a lot of buyers at this level right now. And funny enough, let me show you what happened after. This is like 15 minutes prior to the call, right? And I was watching this kind of puke. And this is very common, right? This is low liquidity, sort of low liquidity. I did talk about on Friday, but obviously it's going to be low liquidity. Why? Based on this is Ethereum, sorry. It's going to be low liquidity, so it's very simple to move the markets to either direction. Why low liquidity? There's no big funds that are going to be open any positions prior quarter. I don't think so. All right. I could be mistaken. Maybe I am. And if I am, that's fine. I'll ride the wave. And we have a lot of geopolitical stuff. So if you think from a ETF, if you were a manager managing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, would you buy right now? You see, oh fuck, this is attractive, man. I think this is Bitcoin. This is the price that I was waiting for all my life to actually buy Bitcoin. Do you think that could be the case? Feel free to answer anything. Yeah, there we go. Exactly. I I could be completely wrong, but that's kind of my case, right? I don't think, you know, now if Bitcoin on the 1st of April decides to hit the 50,000 level, do you think that's going to be attractive for ETFs and for so exactly. And Craig, not really. I want to hear why don't you think that will be attractive if you could elaborate. I love to hear different perspectives. Joe, yes, you could do that. I could actually get a great bot going. That's really good. Now with AI, it's really easy to do. So you definitely could do that. Craig, if it stays for a few days, maybe, yeah, definitely that could be an option. Yep, awesome. That's great. So I think we we are at interesting levels now. What I want to see, you guys know what I want to see, and this is not what I want to see exactly. This is a perfect example to see. We just now, like a half an hour ago, we had huge liquidations. Obviously, those liquidations could could come from free people trying to actually buy on the weekend. Nothing happened, and then bang, right? But now we had that liquidation bigger than the one on the 27th of March, right? So this is interesting. What that means is either we do have a lot of liquidations or there's buyers buying at that level. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. All right. How do we know? Uh, Ideas of how do we know is that if we start seeing CBD coming through, market sustained, right? Then we know that the buyers are there. Okay, which I don't think they are. You know what I mean? This could be a lot of fucking around. And what I did notice, and this is the stuff, this is a setup that I always sort of mentioned to you guys. Obviously, this happened over the weekend or late Friday. I wasn't around, but this setup, right? You see massive amount of open interest, market going down. That means a lot of shorts are being open, and you see CBD volumes puking. That would be a really great short, right? But you have to be mindful that you have to be around at those times to see that that's happening. That's the only downside, right? So obviously, this is a great setup, by the way, right? So that would be a really great short. I would have been out by then already. With shorts, you need to be mindful that at some points you're going to get the short squeezes, you're going to get buyers, you're going to get a lot of stuff that it could actually revert quickly. Okay, so um, essentially that's where I'm at. Waiting. This is a waiting game, right? Is this going to be a level, or is this going to be is this going to move along further out? So far, CBD, a lot of CBD is being sold off here. So unless I don't see a lot of strength coming through, and based on the fact that we have Q1, I think we might reach, we might reach at least this level here. Again, the 62 level, right? So that could be an interesting short. Now, from the short perspective, I think the risk reward is not there for me, right? You can try it out, but the risk reward, what that means is where do you put the stop, right? If you want to short this market, I think my short will invalidate if we start breaking the 72. So if you think about it from the risk reward perspective, right, the trade will look like this. It's a 50-50, right? So is that worth it? No. I try to, or probably you can try it, right? And then if we break this, we aim to 50. But yeah, for me, I'd rather just wait and buy properly, right? And then wait, for that for that breakout to happen, right? So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Uh, less time on the charts at least. Okay, so that's kind of my view on Bitcoin, right? In terms of what I'm seeing. If we look at all the markets, and I did talk about this last week, right? The behavior between oil and Bitcoin. So let me talk about this because I think still Bitcoin is a really great proposition in terms of what I'm seeing at the moment. So and this is why. So obviously this is the chart. This is on the top you have the oil price, and on the bottom you have Bitcoin. This is the weekly, by the way. Okay, so Jason, the 4 year cycle is gone, man. It is gone. Doesn't when you give us we keep extending the 4 year cycle, and the 4 year cycle is no more year cycle. So so long gone, man. Yeah. So this is one of those things. So check this out, this behavior in terms of a weekly basis. This is what I'm waiting for. How many weeks are going to happen? I don't know. But if you think about it, what happened in terms of how many weeks the oil actually stabilized last time that it had the pump, it took 16 weeks, right? To basically give us that stable sort of conditions, right? After the 16 weeks, you start seeing that everything starts sort of getting normalized, and then huge opportunities happen for Bitcoin at that level. Okay, this is what I'm waiting for. How far are we from here? Pretty freaking far, unless there's a bunch of things that it could happen that could change my view. One, the geopolitical thing solved overnight, magically. There's no more war, happy days, Iran, Israel, US, live a happy life ever after. and then everything stabilized, everything that's gonna happen in order for it to stabilize. But until then, I'm gonna see a little more choppy shit around. Unfortunately, that's kind of the view. Even though I'm biased, yeah, fuck, I don't see it yet, right? Unless I see this thing shift. So I'm paying a close attention to how this actually is playing out on a weekly and on a daily basis, right? So on a daily basis is the first sort of this could be the first time that this could top out, right? But then let me show you how what a top look like. You get this sort of huge, then you got a lot of buyers trapped here, and then you sort of get like a double top kind of deal. And we you could see that that's nearly there, but we're not there yet, right? So I'm watching that very closely because this could be my risk barometer in a way. When things is getting a little bit better, that's when we start getting risk. What would be the price of this thing what would be the price of Bitcoin while this stabilized? You don't know. No one knows. 50, 40, 30, or even is going to stay here at the 60 level. That's also theories that we can play out. But that's basically just to give you my views on what I'm watching and what I'm watching, right? So, perfect. So obviously, waiting game. I'm showing you what I'm watching closely to enter in the market heavily, right? And the interesting thing that I want to show you is on the spaghetti charts. By the way, this is the first spaghetti chart. This is this one. Yeah. If you copy this, you guys have this setup, right? So obviously, if you copy that, let me just reload it. All right, and just gonna focus on kind of small time frames, but I want to focus in terms of from March. Why from March, right? So March is when all the conflicts started and all the sort of stuff, and I want to see the relative strength between S&P 500 and crypto, right? So crypto, what I'm watching here, obviously I'm watching Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. So all crypto since March, they're holding okay in a way, right? From the relative strength from March is actually pretty interesting. So it's holding. That doesn't mean that this is a time to buy. That means if we do have another crash, and this one could crash less, maybe. That's basically what I'm seeing here. So that's why I'm still very bullish on crypto. And as soon as things start sort of improving, I think there's a high likelihood that crypto will pick up quite rapidly. Quite rapidly. Okay. So this is basically what I'm watching. This is basically what I'm watching. So far, if you start seeing where the main, I think March 4, where the main conflicts started, there's a lot of strength in crypto. And so far I really like it. So that's kind of my thesis for the time being. So if we extend that to what's going on with the markets, S&P 500 looks like shit, right? All risk US 100 looks like shit. Where are you? What is the VIX? I did talk about this on Friday. VIX looks high. What that means it was a highly likelihood that thing was going to drop by Monday. And the fact that we do have end of quarter, I think this could get a little bit worse. So, but I'm going to be prepared to actually start seeing those capitulations happen. So obviously, really aware what's going to happen here at these levels. Really aware what happened at 60. 60 could be an interesting level. It's going to clear all these people out, and it's going to still respect that. So that's kind of my first approach, 60. And if we hold there, I think that I'll be a big buyer. If that doesn't hold, then I'll buy again at 52 something. You know what I mean? Those are the levels that I'm watching in terms of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin drops, then I'll start going to fucking take a dive, right? So That's it, guys. Unfortunately, that's the game. Would have showed it, maybe. Yeah, I just don't want to be in charge like every half an hour looking at the levels and things like that. So if you guys want to play that game, probably that could be. I know Todd will love it, but that's kind of what I'm watching at the moment. In terms of new opportunities or opportunities that I'm really keeping an eye on, Hype. Of course, hype could be also a good barometer for what the market is going, and the fact that hype hasn't actually dropped, that could be a really interesting trade approaching on hype. We're still holding a lot of spot on hype. I'll keep buying hype. There's there's this. I think hype is going to do really really well. Now they do have the SAP 500 agreement that they're going to provide tokenized assets and things like that for that. So they will be, there's going to be a lot of liquidity coming through Hype. That's going to be huge, right? So, so the fact that, this is obviously people take profits, things like that, but it's a really great proposition. I honestly think I'd rather do DCA on Hype than DCA on Bitcoin, to be honest, but this is a more risky proposition, right? So yeah, in terms of AI, watching Taos or Tao trade still good. I haven't added, haven't taken anything. It's just too strong. That's I want to see. I might want to add if we do have a dump. Probably I want to see if we actually get another buy at 275. Let's see how it goes, and I'll go a little bit with more size, so you can actually risk your profits and make. You know what I mean? If we do have continuation, then Tau will be great. In terms of still haven't bought VVV, man. I still want to see how the market reacts, but VVV has been holding really great, man. Like in terms of strength, I really like this one. One, one that I really want to pay attention is Asta and Lit. So Asta is this price dynamics are very 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 interesting in Asta. What that means is there is a lot of liquidity holding this level here. Okay, you can actually see that every time the things try to go down, it's being bought. Right. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research in terms of this one because I think this has been an interesting price action here. Even though I like Lit better than Asta, uh Asta is giving me a different readout, right? So I'm watching this one closely. I'm watching Lit as well. Unfortunately, it's doing shit, but this is the time to buy really interesting projects, right? So yeah, yeah, Jason. Maybe CC is actually just buying the shit out of pasta. Who knows, right? Very hard to say. But from the price action perspective, you can actually see it clearly from the daily perspective, man. Like you know, it hasn't. So it could be an interesting, slowly accumulation phase. And I do see Aster trading again at one. Definitely, that's something that I after like one is going to be a really interesting breakout level. And but yeah, that's kind of what I'm watching. And from on Friday, I saw a bunch of like from the spaghetti charts, I saw that RWS started to sort of being a little bit more interesting. So obviously, I think flows of money is looking at RWA is picking up again, and this is the chart that I have. Let me give you why I'm I'm more interested in Ondo and APT because obviously all these ones are very small caps, so are very scammy in a way, right? Like you have a lot of dumps and pumps and dumps. Ondo, Ondo is a really good project. A lot of interesting things are in Ondo. Obviously, it's just a safer bet, right? So that's why I'm focusing on Ondo at the moment, right? And what I'm seeing on Ondo, I'm saying it was nearly to the breakout level, but now it fell completely. But then it's now ranging, right? So on any break, so here's the plan. Or any break, right? Depends on where the markets are. And obviously all these plans are after April. I'm not going to Yeah, chart has to look so amazing before April for me to actually start going and buy now. Or geopolitical things shift, but just still be mindful that we have close of quarter, man. And I have it in my on the wall right here, close of quarter, close of month. Don't fucking buy anything, man. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. That's all I have.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm going to sell. I'm going to take more profits on JST. So JST, I think we get into a topping sort of. This was the trade that we took on GST. Yeah, gonna take another 50% back. By the way. Okay. So yeah,
That's awesome, Maurizio. Really comprehensive. Thank you very much.
that's all
Well,
right, guys. Unless you do have any other questions or something, I think yeah, we can. There's nothing much to be honest today.
yeah. I see, Todd. I can see you raising the hand, Todd. I can see you, right? But I'm giving it a no sell today. Okay, I'm giving it a no sell. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Little Ian's got to go and get himself a cup of coffee and sit down before the next meeting. Last thing I need is that bloodthirsty barbarian on double knife scalping in his pants. So I scalped for 57 hours. All right, Todd.
You know what? And I think this is the time to do that, man. Like, I just too
Okay,
much. I
on
have
that
too
note
much shit,
then.
man. It's just you have to be so focused on that stuff, man. And yeah,
Exactly. All right. Brilliant, Maurizio. Make sure to watch the updates in the group, and then everything just keeps flowing logically on from today. Thanks, everyone. Ta-da.
all right, guys. Have a good day.